Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to SC Playbook, the EPL edition. My name is Alex Molchanoff. No Matt Jurman today. He'll be back next week. He's having some time away, focusing on his international duties or something like that, Garby. It's nice to have you back with us, though. Daniel Garb, Matty, the water boy, running the show as always. How's your week, mate?
Well, mate, I topped the scoring for us in Supercoach, so I'm happy to just take the reins and Matty can have a little breather, I think, after I scooped the pool last week.
Well, you playing us a little bit. You know, you came in saying, yeah, I'm the experiment. Just guide me along. I'm sitting well below you at the moment. Well, 20 points. That can all change in a week or so. But it's been a promising early season for you, mate. Grealish in there. Kirkes keeping a clean sheet. Tyreek Mitchell, clever pickup from you, I have to say.
Big fan of the Palace wingbacks, Mitchell or Munoz. They're the ones to, they'll be two of the more valuable fullbacks throughout the course of the season. So I did persist with a couple that, didn't really work out for me in the opening couple of weeks, and they have paid off last week. So I'm building, Maestro.
38 weeks, we said it at the start, 44 trades. It's a marathon, not a sprint, no panic. I made a panic trade this week. We'll get into that in a moment, and I'm regretting it already. Remember that the SC Playbook League is still open. It's a $1,000 first prize. If you're an SC Playbook subscriber, $500 to the winner and $500 to the top subscriber if you win it and you're not. So to become a subscriber, you can join the SC Playbook community for just $2 a week. It's less than your daily cup of coffee. Get you access to numerous premium deep dive articles on the website every week, as well as access to our WhatsApp community with team news updates, contributor groups. You can trade team advice with other members of the community. If you're into your NRL, your NFL, which has just launched, Garby, the NBA is on the way, cricket. Is there any other sports that you get across for this, or are you football focused?
I love a little golf fantasy, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Like across the four majors.
I like that.
You know what I mean? Like, because the majors are really close together.
Yeah.
We just sort of
Roll through
brainstorming
them
on the fly here for the good people here at Bloke in a Bar, and Supercoach. But April, the Masters, May, June, July, you've got three majors straight after. You could do a competition across those 4 months. I think that'd be a cracker.
You've got the greatest fantasy competition in golf coming up in real life in the Ryder Cup later. So very, very exciting.
Grand final weekend in the AFL.
Oh, there we go. That's going to be a massive week for you, mate. How are you going to get through that? Let's get back to the football, because the news was big this week. Deadline day. That's what we're going to focus most of the chat on this week. We'll have some chat about, what we're going to do in terms of captaincy and trades in the upcoming week, but the international break gives us a little bit of breathing room. So let's tidy up all the news, the biggest of which, Alexander Isak to Liverpool. He signed on another 6-year deal, Garby. It's got him into trouble before, but he's managed to find his way out of it. How does this affect Liverpool? How does this affect Alexander Isak, Ugo Ekitike, Florian Wirtz, Mo Salah? Because despite his strongish start, his price is coming down as we predicted.
Yeah.
And it might further drop that price because, I don't know, is Liverpool's style of play going to change at all? Is Isak going to take any of that responsibility off their star marksman?
It's a huge signing, first and foremost. I think we all know that. It's been building for a while. I mean, I think sometimes when these sagas go on, you actually lose track of the impact on the team because you just focus on the story, that it's finally done, and Liverpool have got Isak. But they're signing the second top scorer from last season. So they've got Salah and Isak, the two top scorers now from last season in their team. I mean, he's such a pure performer, proven number 9, lethal finisher. Ekitike is still raw, so all the concerns of, who's going to start and all that. Ekitike's got years, 2 or 3 before he hits his peak, which is scary considering how promising he is. Liverpool have got Champions League and the Cups. They're at a stage now where they want to try win it all. They're at a stage now where they want to try win a league and a Champions League at the same time. You need 2 quality strikers at least to work through a campaign like that. So it's fine in that sense. Isak will be the main man. Ekitike will rotate from time to time with him. He takes penalties as well, Isak, but he won't take them off Salah. There's no chance that'll happen. Will it impact Salah's Supercoach fantasy scores? Maybe. He's still the main man at Liverpool after what he's done over so many years. But there has to be something in the back of his mind that says we've spent so much, a British transfer record, on this striker. Naturally, you do look for him. It's more than a Nunez and other players that have come because the fee is so high, the reputation is so strong, that I think they will look for him a little bit more, and maybe that takes a bit away from Salah's tendency to cut in and shoot. but the assist should still be there as a result. I don't think they're working through it at the moment, Liverpool, with Wirtz and Ekitike, and they're in second gear and they're still winning. That's the concern for opposition teams. But maybe it will detract from Salah's scoring overall, and Isak may profit as a result because he's got better players now than what he had, as good as Newcastle have been, to work with. So it's going to be fascinating, but obviously just one of it's the biggest transfer in English football history via finances. And in terms of a saga and the way in which it's played out, with Isak winning out based on the way in which he froze himself out of the Newcastle squad. It's a landmark moment in the Premier League.
Well, it's interesting. This is happening across a couple of sports at the moment. You're big on your AFL. It's been talked about with Charlie Curnow at the moment, is it?
People are starting to raise this question, in the wake of Isak. Is that what players in Australian sport will do a little bit more?
Yeah.
It's not our culture, right?
No.
And we can't see a player in the AFL or NRL refusing to play, which is what Isak did.
Yeah.
He pretty much said, I'm not playing for you until you move me. And if you keep me after the window, well, I'm not interested. I'm not going to be putting in 100%. I don't want to be here. There's issues now in the dressing room because of me. He was happy to do that, and his agent was telling him to do that. If you want this move, that is how you have to go about it. Mark Gay from Crystal Palace
continued playing and he doesn't get it.
Did things the right way. I'm committed to this club, but I want to go to Liverpool. They basically stuck to their haunches on at Palace. The manager threatened to quit if Gay was given the move, and he stays there and doesn't get the transfer that he wants. Nice guys finish last from time to time. So you just wonder if someone like Charlie Curnow wants to go to the Sydney Swans. We digress here a bit. Yeah. If he says, well, you're not going to get Charlie Curnow at his best if you don't let me move right now, whether that has an impact. I don't see that happening because players just won't go out and give 100% in Australian sport, but they might go that little bit further in the off-season. Lockie Galvin, I guess.
Yeah, that's the closest thing we've had in the NRL.
West to the Bulldogs. 100%. They might go that little bit further than they have in the past in order to pressure their clubs to sanction a trade. It's
been something that happened remember the NBA? It was happening with James Harden and not playing. He's done that a couple of times now. Ben Simmons has sat out almost with the Philadelphia 76ers.
It works because the asset drops.
Yeah. So suddenly clubs are coming in because they've got the power.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a couple of the other transfers that have happened over the window. Eberechi Eze. Oh, sorry. Before we do get there, I'm going to backtrack 1 second. The one theory I thought was interesting that I heard during the week is that Liverpool's big spend is basically because they know they're coming to the end of the era and this might be Salah's last at the club. They want to give themselves that freedom to sell him should something similar, not saying it would, but the Saudi interest was there last off-season. Can you see that being the case? Are they future-proofing themselves?
I don't think they're future-proofing. I just think they didn't spend last season. They've made a lot of money. These options were there, players like Wirtz and Isak, and they jumped and they just said, well, we're going all in now. Don't hesitate. We've got the money there. Let's do it. They've also sold a lot. I mean, this whole notion that Liverpool have spent like crazy is just not true. Their net spend over the last 2 years is only like £120 million. And you take last season into it because they didn't buy anyone.
Yes.
So you have to set it off against that. So they actually haven't spent a crazy amount, even though they've got a new British record signing and Wirtz who cost £100 million. But no, I don't think they're thinking about what Salah might do. They've signed him to that new contract. If he goes, well, he goes. But there were options there to get these talents in and improve the squad even more and dominate English football. Why not go for it? That Liverpool haven't done this since the 80s. Sign like this from a position like this where they are at the top of the perch in English football. And that is how that's how Manchester United won so many titles. They were at the top and they didn't rest on their laurels. There were 2 players out, 2 players in every season, right? You refresh the squad, you keep everyone on your toes, you continue to build. Liverpool have brought in 3 or 4 top-class players and moved some out who didn't deserve to be, like a Harvey Elliott. It's just harsh. But it's just the way it goes, right? When you're the best, to stay there, you have to keep everyone on edge.
Yeah. Let's talk about another. You mentioned Mark Gay. So Eberechi Eze did the same thing. Was playing for Palace, started the season well, played well in the Community Shield. Now he's off to Arsenal and joins that glut of midfielders that they have. But there is a thought that he's going to be brought in a wing position. Is that what you're expecting from the move over there? I think I tend to think that way because Gabby Martinelli, a lot of Arsenal fans, have not been happy with his output. Fantasy coaches have not gone for him. can he play in that wide position? He was being played more and more through the middle as he went on in his Palace career. Started there, but was becoming more and more a 10.
He's going to need some support.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want him isolated on the wing.
No.
You wouldn't want him in one-on-one situations. I don't think that's his go. But I think he can be really effective there if he's got a fullback bombing on behind him, if he's got support from someone like Odegaard or Rice.
They have started that way, right? Yorian Timber and Calafiori have been fantastic.
Exactly. So if they do a lot of that, then I think Eze can work fine in that position. But if he gets isolated, I think fullbacks will fancy themselves against him one-on-one without that support. But they've got good enough players like Rice and Odegaard who can move out wide and give him that support, and the fullbacks we've spoken about. So I think he'll be okay.
At his price point at the moment, I'd just be holding at the moment on Eberechi Eze, see how he fits into that squad, see 100%. How much time it's going to take.
A bit as well.
I think this is the case for most of the new signings. I think Isak could be an exception if you're looking for someone as big. I think he's going to be a regular starter. They're not spending that money on him to sit him on the bench, even as strongly as Ekitike has started this season. I think it'll be a week or two, but he'll come into that team very quickly. Down the league a little bit, and I say that because Manchester City, after starting so brightly, have lost their last two. And they bring in a new goalkeeper. James Trafford came under a lot of fire in game week 2. He cops 2 more, although improved in his performance. They're not bringing in Gigi Donnarumma to sit on the bench. No. And that's disappointing for owners and probably for Trafford as well, because I think he's a better goalkeeper than he gets given credit for. But Pep Guardiola has gone that way, and now he looks as though he's got a new number 1.
Yeah, well, they've got one of the best keepers in the world. I mean, he's been unbelievable for PSG over the last couple of years.
Took them to that trophy. Was brilliant in the knockouts of the Champions League.
Experience, great penalty stopper. It's a big personality, which they probably needed in defence. I mean, if Edison moving on, it never really felt as if James Trafford was the Man City keeper. No. He's got talent, and he could have won that position, but it was a work in progress. Someone like Donnarumma comes along, well, you just snap
He's a
that
win
up
now player, isn't he?
Yeah, and they need that. I mean, the last 2 weeks, terrible defeats.
Yeah.
You know, we all thought Man City would be a lot better in its early stages. They might well be, but my goodness, the last fortnight's been a huge setback for them with Liverpool winning without playing too well. They needed a boost, and I think Donnarumma provides it. And I think he'll be a pretty shrewd acquisition.
Harvey Elliott to Aston Villa. You mentioned it already, Liverpool fan perspective, and then I guess how does he fit into that? I think he's going to be a real perfect fit for that Villa team who needs some new blood. I think it's fair to say they've started the season almost dully. Like it's gotten a bit beige, a bit similar for Unai Emery. So to have that fresh player and one with as much talent as Harvey Elliott must be exciting.
I think I said that last week. Like Villa's front four look good, but it's same. Yeah. They needed to find someone with a bit of X factor, someone who can excite the fans, just offer something different. Elliott's a perfect signing for them in that sense. Liverpool fans are devastated because he's heart and soul. Whenever he came on the field, he gave 100%. He never whinged about being on the bench. He was really unlucky not to get more of a go. I think all Liverpool fans would have liked to have seen him stay on, but he's at that stage now where he needs to play, and it's just a hard team to crack into. And it makes sense for all parties to perhaps freshen things up. But I think it's going to be a big one for Aston Villa. And I think in Supercoach, he's going to be someone who will score. He's just such a lively player. We haven't seen him over 90 minutes week in, week out because he's always been playing off the bench for Liverpool. But Villa will give him that chance to be a main man. He's a team man as well, but he's got a lot of confidence and belief, and he's at that age now where he wants to start for England at the next World Cup. Certainly be in the squad. So he knows he needs to take this opportunity, and that's a big part of his move, the World Cup next year. So, look for him to shine. I think it's a good one for Villa, and it'll be a big fantasy acquisition for many a team, no doubt.
It'll be interesting to see how he fits into that lineup. I think he'll probably be one of the two deeper lying players, right?
But I think he'll play out wide.
He's got that license.
I think he'll start out wide.
Okay.
I think he'll start as one of the wide players. With we'll see if Sancho, comes through or not. But I think he'll be.
He's been such a big.
I think he'll be on the left or right wing for Villa.
Okay. Colin Mwani to Tottenham. This is a really interesting one. As an owner of Richarlison, I'm sure this piqued your interest along with Matty Jurman. Such a talent, Champions League winner with PSG, comes in with this massive pedigree. They've signed Xavi Simons in the window as well. That's really adding some grunt to this team as Thomas Frank tries to take them back up into European football. How does it affect Richarlison, I guess is the question I'll put to you. Is it him or Solanke that they're looking to replace with this signing? Or is it a replacement? Is it just building depth?
Yeah, maybe neither. He can play out wide, so they might use him in that role. It's a good signing. I think Tottenham just needed to get some more talent in and some more depth and just work it out after that. So they've done that. He's got great pedigree. I mean, he's been at PSG and, he scored goals before. Went on loan to Juventus, didn't really fire there, but the Premier League will probably suit him a little bit more than Serie A. It's a good acquisition for Spurs. I wouldn't be relying on him from a Supercoach point of view because you just don't know if he's going to start up front or out wide and off the bench, and how long will it take him to adjust? Will he be a nailed-on startup? The Spurs fans don't really know at this stage. I mean, Brennan Johnson started the season pretty well, so does he get a crack at it? Straight away? Probably not. So there's a lot of uncertainty there, but he's someone to watch really closely because if he does get a good go of it in the first couple of weeks, I'd be trying to get him on because, he's got super talent.
How are you feeling about Richarlison amongst all of this? Because it was a down performance. I think he scored a 5-pointer and was in the game, but looked as though he'd been handled. Like that was last season's Richarlison we saw during game week 3, which is a bit of a worry.
Yeah, he started nicely, but there's always a concern that he would revert back to the mean. I mean, Solanke might need surgery, so there's this concern over him injury-wise as to what's going to happen. Richarlison is, he's a 6.5 out of 10. Yeah. Spurs need an 8 out of 10. Solanke can be that player. Richarlison has the odd game in that space, but not enough. So Mawani provides a challenge for him. Yeah. He needs to up his game in order to keep that spot.
And this is an interesting one. I want to touch on this. It's not one of the biggest name signings of the windows, but Kevin, great name, to Fulham. He's been classed as a midfielder at 3.9, but there is some speculation he's been signed to play up front. So if you're looking for a value play in that after Jack Grealish is just shot up, and you're looking to move on, I wouldn't be moving on from Grealish just yet, just quietly, but he could be an interesting little bring-in in the next couple of weeks.
Well, he's a record transfer, so they're going to play him.
And in at 3, I can't believe the pricing on this as much as anything.
Yeah, they're going to play him. Now, he's a midfielder. If he was a forward, I would be looking at him closer, but the fact he's a midfielder, look, is he a bit same with a bunch of other players you might be able to get, maybe. If he was a striker and he's playing up there, well, I think you'd be, all right, let's get this kid in. But look, he's got to adjust as well to the Premier League, and he's young, and he might not start straight away. He might take a little while to get going, but you definitely got to keep a watch on him. I mean, I'm in a draft league in fantasy, and we do like a little draft after the transfer window for new signings. Guys from outside the game. I'd pick 3. So I had a choice between, pick 1 was Simons, pick 2 was Walter Marty from Newcastle, and I had a choice between Colin Mawani, Kevin, or Donnarumma.
Right,
Those 3 players. And I went with Donnarumma, just because you just don't know about Kevin or Colin Mawani.
He's going to be nailed on, right?
He'll be nailed on. So I've got David Raya already, and I'll just rotate the 2 based on their fixtures, right? So my point is, there's still question marks over guys like Mawani and Kevin, but you did think about them closely because there could be huge upside there.
And especially in Supercoach, where availability for people coming to football, if you're listening to us, like, we don't have the backups when guys don't start in this competition, as we've both found out over the course of the year. If you get someone that's out and you don't have anyone backing them up, you need all 14 players other than maybe a looper to be starting every week. So, Donnarumma in that case. It'll be interesting to see how Kevin fits into that Fulham squad. Because Josh King was superb on the weekend as well, and very, very unlucky. I'm feeling very hardly done by. I know the PGMOL came out and gave an apology to Marco Silva. I'm feeling like I need one personally as a Josh King owner. The way he set up that should have been goal. Let's just run through the rest of your team quickly. Garby, how are you feeling about this? Underperformers, they're not too many. Kyle Walker had a -1, but apart from that, Minte, great pickup. You've got some great points of difference throughout your squad. Minte, I think Brighton are going to go from strength to strength. I actually backtracked on my De Kuyper trade out, just looking at how promising they've been, and that proved somewhat correct. Lenny Yoro is in on your bench. Interested to see how you feel about Man United's defence now that Saint-Lamont has come in as well, the Belgian goalkeeper.
Well, no, there's still no confidence based on their results, apparently. And I don't think Lamont gives them any further confidence either.
No,
like he's an unproven keeper. I mean, I saw a Belgian journalist even said, he's a good talent, and we thought he'd go to the Premier League. We thought it would be like a mid-level club. We didn't think it would be Man United.
Well, that's what United are now,
that's
right?
That's from his own countrymen.
Yeah.
So, again, you just raise eyebrows at what United are doing. Now, maybe he ends up being one of their few signings that actually comes good because just about all of them have failed except for Bruno Fernandes since Sir Alex left or gone down in value since being signed, apart from maybe a few young players. Maybe he'll be one out of the box. But, if Emi Martinez was there, you thought, why not go the experienced option, right? It doesn't really add up in that sense because he could maybe just put the wind up a few in that United defence.
Yeah.
Is Lamont going to have the gall to do that as a newcomer in the league? I don't think so. He's trying to find his feet. So, I don't think United fans are enthused by this.
Can I just get your thoughts on Aston Villa quickly with Emi Martinez coming back in there? Because I think it'll be an option that a few people look at now that he's fit again. Their run of games, they go away to Everton, they're away at Sunderland, and then they're at home against Fulham, home against Burnley. Like, that's not exactly a frightening run. If they can turn things around, they say football lies to us in August. Has it been lying to us about Aston Villa?
Villa are not a team that should be lying to us.
Yeah.
Liverpool might be lying to us because they got designs on winning the title. So you can make an argument that they're still in pre-season mode a little bit in the opening month before that first international break. Maybe the same for City over time. But Villa shouldn't be in that camp.
They've been around. That's the thing that gets me about them. They looked such a team that were cohesive, that have been working under the same manager for a long time, that have had a structure that's worked. Now, I'm not sure if they've been worked out by some opposition teams. Perhaps that's the case. I know some coaches that have worked in the Premier League, Ange found it out very quickly, that once your style is there and people can pick it apart, suddenly you've got to adjust.
I think
and without the new signings, that's been a real difficulty for them.
I think they were a little bit stale.
Yeah.
There's too many of the same players. So Sancho and Elliott come in and give them a bit of a lift. Maybe you move someone. Asensio's gone, hasn't he? And so maybe they just needed to get rid of a couple of players who, I don't know, weren't inspiring others.
You talk about Asensio, like that's a big loan move that no one was expecting to happen, right? And they had Rashford there for a time. He's now at Barcelona or a football,
Maybe they needed to just change it up a little bit, right? Freshen up a couple of personalities and maybe Elliott and Sancho, English players, desperate to win a spot in the World Cup next year, can link up with Watkins and fire Villa on. Perhaps that's what they needed. So, I still think they'll improve. Yeah. But they've also got Champions League, right?
Yes.
So their schedule's going to also be jam-packed.
Yeah. Ooh. Keep a watch on them. Right, we're just going to run through, before we go to the games over the weekend, some of the biggest break-evens after round 3. So Salah going down, I don't think anybody's trading him out because of that, but people will be waiting to pick him up. He's going to need a 31 to get his value back up this week, so that'll be an all-timer performance. So I think you can just stay patient on Mohamed Salah. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, part of that West Ham side, he's going to need a 25. He's already down 1.4 million. Anthony Robertson, I don't think too many are surprised about that either, given what a remarkable season he had last year for Fulham, just reverting to the mean slightly. And Eze's in there with Patrick Kluivert. So Eze, again, if you were thinking about bringing him in, hold your horses. See how he adjusts to that Arsenal side. The next game he plays, his value is going to drop quite significantly. And then maybe we can start to think about moving him in. The players going up, Jack Grealish is getting close to must-have. Well done for jumping on him early, Garby. He's already up to 6.5, a £2.8 million jump this week, which, as somebody who missed out on him, has got me just quaking in my boots somewhat. Jurrien Timber, not a highly popular pick at the start of the season, but he's gone up 2.8 million. He'd be one I'd be just saying hold off on until Arsenal are settled again in what they're going to do. Miles Lewis-Skelly hasn't been cited yet this season, has he, Garby? He's in the game as a midfielder, so I don't think many had him in his team, but more for the effect on Tamba. He seems to have that spot locked up at the moment.
Well, he scored a couple 2 weeks ago and he looked dangerous against Liverpool at times as well, getting forward. So, I like Paqueta, who I know you've got down on the list of players going up. West Ham were the big stay-away team over the first 2 weeks, but they had that big win, and Lucas Paqueta's looking strong. I mean, there was talk about a move away for him, but they've kept him.
The celebration. How good's the celebration? Tucks away the penalty, and then the hand up to the ear, throws it down, kisses the bat. Fantastic.
So he's a player I think he's close to a must-have because he's going to be their main avenue to goal. I think Lucas Paqueta is someone I'll be looking to bring in.
And still a mid-ranger at 7.5, 7.6 as well, which is really nice. Marcos Senesi has got in there. He's gone up to 7.05. And Jadon Anthony off the back of his goal against Manchester United. Wouldn't take that as how he's going to continue for the rest of the season with Burnley up. I think they've got a very tough run of fixtures. Players holding their defenders at the moment, just with their hearts in their mouths slightly. Your thoughts on some of the players around here? I don't think you have any of these in, but I had Cole Palmer, the groin. We've had no further information. I've traded him out before game week 3 to get Reinders in. That hasn't exactly paid off for me straight away, but just the amount of cash that you're hoarding if you are holding him makes him an out for me. Jeremy Frimpong Garby is a Liverpool fan. You're best judged here. They've been playing Dominic Szoboszlai in that position. It paid off for them over the weekend. There's no chance of him continuing in that position, is there?
I don't think he'd want to. I don't think they'd want to necessarily play him there every week, but he's been arguably Liverpool's best player in the first 3 weeks.
Couldn't agree more.
He's been unbelievable. So, to get everyone in, maybe they do keep him there a little bit. Yeah, I'd imagine Frimpong will get another run of it, run at it straight, as soon as he's fit again. So I don't think it's too much of a panic in terms of holding Frimpong if you are. But it's an interesting one because it's working for Liverpool at the moment and it just means Szoboszlai's in the side. I don't think you'll want to play right back, though. No. I mean, he's Hungary's captain. He plays in midfield. He's not going to want to play week in, week out at right back. So I think there'll be a mature conversation there about getting him back in the midfield if they can.
And I've got him he's turned into a loop option for me in terms of the captaincy because Liverpool got another late kickoff in game week 4. Harry Tyre is not an option with Everton playing early again. They get a few more late fixtures in a couple of weeks, so I'm not trading him to another low-key option at the moment. Just save that trade for the moment. So Frimpong, I'm happy to have him sitting there with the distance between fixtures at the moment, the time to recover the hamstring, the fact that Liverpool, it's precautionary. Okay, we'll take your word for it at the moment. William Saliba, that was so disappointing as an owner to see him go down after the ankle injury with 15 minutes played against Liverpool. Again, the word out of Arsenal, precautionary. But when you see a player go down like that, I'm nervous, particularly with him being such a high price as well. I want to see him back in the Arsenal team in the first game week after we get back from the international break.
Just a rolled ankle. I think you'll be okay.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything more serious than that, but he obviously couldn't run at it.
It's
the kind of thing where 2 weeks off, he should be okay.
I'm hoping that's the case. Less so for Turkey. 7 to 8 weeks City are expecting with a thigh injury. There's plenty of value around that mid-tier. I think he's the one. We talked a little bit about Kevin and someone of that sort of profile coming into there. Is there any other sort of outside the box options you've looked at, Garby, through the midfield?
Just wonder who gets more games for City as a result.
Yeah.
So Renders, we know, Marmoush, does Doku get a good run at it?
Yeah.
We know he could be really valuable. I think that's how you start looking at it. Phil Foden, nobody knows what's going on there in terms of his form. And maybe Doku comes in for the next 2 months. That's what I'd be thinking about. Yeah. Which City players are going to step up now?
Chuncha's down with a hamstring injury. Martin Odegaard, everything looking pretty good there. Came off the bench against Tottenham, so I'd say we expect him back starting for Arsenal after the international break. Bukayo Saka, a little bit more of a worry. You hear the word hamstring as a fantasy owner. Same with Frimpong, and your heart just goes into your mouth slightly about his future. So if you're an owner there, I think I'm edging towards you need to trade because, again, he's someone over 10 mil. Same as Palmer. As soon as they're missing time, you are really missing out on an opportunity to score points in the early season. Well,
considering his injury record as well, it's starting to become a bit of a concern for Arsenal fans. Is Saka going to be injury prone? Is he going to be a player who gets constant hammies? So, I think that's a legitimate worry.
And if you're looking at Eze, maybe you are holding on to Saka just to see if he's there, and then you're knowing Eze's price is going to come down, probably to a point where you're going to be able to trade one for the other. So that's a look. Can we get to this Liverpool versus Arsenal game quickly over the weekend, Garby? It was an encouraging performance for Liverpool, not least because their defence finally held up. Arsenal accused of playing a little bit of anti-football. I think that's interesting in terms of people who have them in as attacking option. Is that fair criticism?
Well, I think so in big games because the stats prove that. Arteta hasn't won at Anfield. Arsenal have only beaten Liverpool 4 times in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, Arteta hasn't been there for that entire time, but you know, they're not attacking at the big teams away from home enough.
They're not throwing numbers forward at all,
It seems like they're almost trying to pick off results in these big games and then take advantage of the weaker teams at home or away. And that doesn't win you titles.
No.
So they need to be a bit bolder. You know, they did play within themselves at time. I thought it was an even game decided by a brilliant free kick. Simple as that. If it was 0-0, I think both managers would have gone, that's fair. Yep. So, because Liverpool aren't playing to the best of their ability now as well. But you know, the Gunners have to jump in and try to win this league. Liverpool have it at the moment. Right? City know how to win it. Arsenal haven't won this thing since 2004. It's a long drought. Everyone talked about Liverpool's 30-year drought. We're up to 21 years now for Arsenal, moving into 22. You'd want to get moving, right? Considering you've been up there and finished second a few times in a row. They thought last year would be their season and Liverpool stepped in and took it. So they need to be a bit bolder. And you know what? If Arteta doesn't finish in the top 3 or make the semi-finals of the Champions League, there's going to be massive pressure on him to keep his job. So it's time for them to start to throw a bit of caution to the wind, and they're not doing that enough in the big games.
Yeah. And it's interesting. So you're right about the big games, and I think this is a lesson for us fantasy owners, Supercoach owners early in the season, is that a lot of these big games are 2 teams feeling each other out. It's not the gung-ho stuff that we saw during the Guardiola versus Klopp games for City and Liverpool. I think the managers that we have in the EPL at the moment being a lot more watchful in these particularly early season games. So if you're holding particularly defenders for these and you see, oh, we've got a tough run of fixtures going, just hold your horses on trading out for players, and you had that pay off with keeping Kirk. I was a little worried about Kirkes for you last week because I was looking at, okay, Arsenal are going to be running there, but he was superb, and Liverpool really came into that game with an approach that suited the fixture. Yeah,
some big tackles by him. No, he'll be fine. He's a gun.
Yeah,
no issues. I think he'll be a premium defender over the course of the season.
And we spoke about Wirtz last week.
Price
coming down. I'm an owner. I'm happy about
that big chance late.
Yeah,
you know, that goes in. You know, everything changes for him. International break now. I think he'll be okay. He's building. There were better signs from him.
Okay, I'll hold on. Man United 3, Burnley 2. What a ridiculous game. And Bruno Fernandes, after trying to talk himself into a second booking, eventually scores the penalty, saved a lot of super coaches, saved me, having him as captain this week. You can't be touching United's defence. We've talked about Lenny Yoro already. Le Mans, does it change things? Not really. United's next 3, City away after the international break, Chelsea at home, Brentford away. That screams of 3 teams. You know,
they could lose all 3,
and they could also win all 3. Garby,
I don't know if they'll win all 3. United haven't impressed me at all.
Okay,
I'm sorry. They win against Burnley, like they needed that. Fernandes scores a pen to make up for the pen miss, a couple of weeks ago. Great, but it hasn't altered the status quo at United, which is a team that's still in disarray. Amorim's under pressure. I'd be really concerned about that run of fixtures for them.
The next week's going to have me thinking about Quinalicia Hartman. You've got Kyle Walker. The next 3 for Burnley: Liverpool away, Forest at home, City away.
Yeah, he'll be parked on the bench.
He'll be parked on the bench. We just sit him there for the moment. Chelsea, a really interesting talking point coming out of this game. We talked about the refereeing decision already, but Joao Pedro's value, I think, is going up. Becoming very good at scoring goals. Liam Delap's injury means they don't have a recognised striker, really, at the club at the moment that is fit. He can cover in both positions. He's still scoring as a 10 when he's starting there, at just under 10 mil at the moment. If you're looking for someone, I'm having half a think about moving Wirtz out just because I know Pedro's output at the moment is going to be more consistent.
Yeah, he's become very valuable. No arguments there. Chelsea are going okay. They're getting results again without playing. They're sneaking under the radar, I think it's fair to say.
And we
start of the season, he's looking like a really good signing.
Do we think Mal Augusto's got that bedded down? I was very worried when the first week Reece James came in and hasn't been started
well,
since.
You tipped me into signing him. You said you had him, and I went, okay, we'll have a look at that, and he's paid off for me straight away. So, him and Kukurea, I think, are two very good players to have in the Chelsea defence. And
Chelsea's run of fixtures is nice and calm for the next 4 weeks, I think, until the next international break. Brighton 2, City 1. I'm interested to have a bit of chat about City. Ait-Nouri was fit again, which everybody had bright eyes, but Brighton, they've been really impressive in the first 3 weeks, and I was sort of panicked by the results, but going back and watching the highlights of those games and then how they played against City, they were just so well prepared. And I thought Kyle Matoma was back at his best. He played well the week before. He was the standout in this game. And Minte as well. There was a bit of a worry about him after the late sub, but he's gone to join Kenya's international squad. So all signs is that he's going to be fit going forward as well. Brighton. Yeah.
Well, we said it last week. I mean, Matoma and Minte will pay you back over the course of the season. There might be inconsistencies there, but they'll have big enough games. James Milner's a freak. He's now the second oldest scorer and I think the second youngest scorer in Premier League history. He scored at 16 and 39. Amazing. City, there's worries because I think we all thought the squad was getting a bit stale, so they've changed it up and they've started really poorly. I mean, now people will start to wonder if the voice of Pep Guardiola is getting a bit old, and is it the mystique around him just starting to wear off a little bit? It's too early in the campaign to make a definitive decision on that, but if they finish close to where they finished last year, both parties will probably say, all right, that's it. Let's just go our separate ways, and we need to reinvent things here because we didn't expect to have back-to-back poor seasons. But it's far too early to make a determination on that.
And if you are looking for a mid-rangey sort of midfielder, I think Minte and Matoma are definitely worth a look over the next week as you're preparing your trade. So Bournemouth away next weekend, then they host Tottenham, away against Chelsea, and then away against Wolves. So a few away fixtures there, but I don't think that'll worry them particularly. And Chelsea really the only one you're looking at there going, oh, that's a team in bang hot red form. Bang red hot form. I'm combining about 3 different sayings there, but you get the gist of where I'm going. To wrap up, we'll just get to what you're looking at, Garby. Is there a weak link that you're thinking about letting go of?
Yeah, I'll wait for the international break to come and go because you can get some injuries in the international break. So you got to wait for it to finish before you make your transfers. But I think Richarlison's got to go for me. And I'll be looking at who have I got down here? It'll be Richarlison out and probably Mateta that I'll bring in. I just think I can afford him if I get rid of Richarlison based on my other trades. I might just go the one trade and just hold off and Richarlison out, Mateta in, maybe Gyökeres. I'll have a look at the fixtures a bit closely, but it'll be one of those two. Mateta probably the headliner right now.
Let's see if we can get Chelsea's fixtures up here. Crystal Palace's fixtures up here. Yeah, Sunderland at home. That bodes nicely. Yep. Then West Ham away. Yes, this is looking very encouraging. Then Liverpool visit and Everton away before the next international break. One, then. Yeah, that'll be the one. I like that as an option for you. Right, Frimpong for me, I'm setting the watch. Livramento, I've been talking about him. I staved off the trade last week. He's had another good week. Matty Jurman got him in. He's taken the points for that. De Kuyper I'm holding for the moment just because I've had second thoughts about that and Brighton are looking better. My panic trade, Garby, we didn't get to this. Chris Wood was in. After I looked at things, I'm going, okay, let's bring him in. And
well, mate, he's a 3-hour drive down the highway.
Yeah, that's right. I know. I need to go and talk to him about his form, right?
Take it up with him, mate. He's taking on the Aussies with the Kiwis on tomorrow night.
I saw that West Ham in the fixture list, and I just thought, he's bang on to get at least one here. Forest were toothless, dreadful. Now they visit Arsenal. At home to Burnley, Sunderland away, Newcastle away. If that's a lesson to anyone out there, don't do what I did. Late on Saturday night, looking at it, going, ooh, okay. Igor Thiago's the other one I'm looking at. He's been scoring goals, played very well. Brentford's run of fixtures is getting a little bit more difficult. Chelsea at home, Fulham away, United at home, City at home. So Brentford looking a little bit tougher, so I'm thinking I might be taking the cash there. One or two of either he or Chris Wood, I think, will be traded out this week. Captaincy options, so Erling Haaland against Manchester United, I think, will be a pick for plenty, Garby. Sarah or Ødegaard, the other two, with Arsenal's fixture looking pretty good this weekend as I get it up. They are... Where are they?
We got a week off, so it's next week.
Yeah, next week, home to Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
The early kickoff on Saturday.
I'll be looking at Haaland, or if I bring Mateta in, he could be my captain at home to Sunderland. I'd be backing him to score.
Yeah, I don't mind
that. Or maybe even a double.
I don't mind that as an option.
Yeah.
Right, there is football this weekend. FA Women's Super League starting. Plenty of Aussies in action over there. The Soccer Ashes on Friday night, Garby. Excited for that one?
Well, we're 9-10 months out from a World Cup. Iran Kunda's back in the squad. Segicic has been one of the best players in the championship after moving from Sydney FC. Adrian Segicic. Geordie Boss is banging them in for final.
Yeah.
I mean, this is as exciting a time for young Australian footballers coming through with the national team that we've had, maybe since the golden generation. No one's saying they're going to reach those heights, but these guys have got serious talent and they've had a cracking start to the season, way beyond everyone's expectations, especially Iran Kunda and Segicic.
Yes.
They're the two in the championship at a very high standard, of course, that league. So, yeah, get around these Socceroos over these next 2 weeks because the World Cup's not far away. And if these guys can impress and settle in the Socceroos side early, that World Cup's going to be very exciting to watch.
There's no bigger plaudits for Australian football than you and I, so you will get a little taste of this towards the end of the podcast. And Matty Jurman is still playing in the A-League. That draw's set to be released next week, which is very exciting. But if you're getting into your football through Supercoach this season, make sure you're jumping on the Socceroos at the moment as well. It's a really exciting time. We've got plenty of youngsters coming through that are getting moves overseas, and we're hoping that we're going to have a really strong campaign in a very watchable time zone over in the United States, Canada and Mexico this time next year. So that's all very exciting.
Maybe Bloke in a Bar can take us there.
Yeah, that'd be nice. You reckon? Hey, Matty, we're going to be able to get a budget up for that? We'll see how we go. A-League draw out next week, which we'll have a chat to Matty Jurman about when he's back in. Australia Cup final set. We've got an NPL team there, Garby. You've been a big part of that coverage. Heidelberg taking on the Newcastle Jets.
Massive final.
Second NPL team to make it,
Yeah, after Sydney United a couple of years ago. So they can make history by being the first non-A-League team to win the Australia Cup. And who'd back against them? They've beaten 3 A-League teams in the run into the final. The Newcastle Jets have been really good under Mark Milligan, but they're hardly a set squad.
No.
Heidelberg can take advantage of them. They've got a month between this game and the final, though, their last game and the final, so it's a bit of a wait. But they'll back themselves and they'll have the rest of the country outside of Newcastle behind them. What a story it would be.
They're in pre-season for the Australian Championship. That's how everything's going down at that tier of Australian football at the moment. Thank you so much for joining us on SC Playbook, the EPL edition. We'll be back with all the news out of the international break. Just hold off on those trades for now. Make sure you're thinking about it. Make sure you're getting all that good info from our social pages on there. And we'll be back next week with Matty Jurman and maybe a surprise third other head coming in our growing team. SC Playbook, $2 a week. Make sure you subscribe and catch up with us again next week. But for Daniel Garb, it's Alex Molchanoff saying goodbye.